Good afternoon. I'm Chris Hune, current board chair of Homeport, and on behalf of the staff and the board of Homeport, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our Milo-Grogan groundbreaking. The timeliness of today's event comes on the heels of our holiday of gratitude, and it is with gratitude that we gather here today to thank our public and private partners who have invested their time, talents, and resources to support this neighborhood revitalization project. We're grateful for the investment being made into this community and excited to see the outcomes we expect in the coming months as this project progresses, and where soon 33 families will be residing in safe, energy efficient, and most importantly, affordable new homes. As many of you are aware, closing the gap on affordable housing is at the core of our mission, and with the level of support received from our congressional members, federal agencies, our state representatives, the mayor's office, and city council members, as well as our area commission, as well as our funding partners, many of whom you'll hear from today, we are a step closer. It's now my pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of Homeport, Bruce Lukey.
Good afternoon, everyone. On this beautiful day. By the way, for those of you who know Maud Hill, she dials these days up. So, and no one argues. So, as president of Homeport, it's indeed my pleasure to greet everyone here today and to celebrate really a great partnership in laying the foundation for the revitalization of Milo-Grogan. As we know, construction of Interstate 71 in the 1960s split Milo-Grogan in half, east from west, and it resulted in the demolition of an estimated 400 businesses and homes. So individuals and families were adversely affected, manufacturing jobs were lost, people moved, and as time wore on, other homes became vacant, abandoned, and demolished. But close-knit families helped their children endure the transition. There was family life, school, and neighborhood friendships. Kids were crossing guards, played sports, and learned woodshop at the Boys Club on Cleveland Avenue. In a few moments, three Milo-Grogan success stories, banking executive Jordan Miller, area commissioner Robert Barksdale, and former Ohio State and NBA player and coach Jim Clemens, will share their memories and other suggestions about Milo's future. And we'll also hear today from Columbus Director of Development Steve Shoney on what the city's role in Milo-Grogan as part of Mayor Ginther's and his administration's priority of neighborhoods, neighborhoods, neighborhoods is all about. But let me be clear. All of us here today have an obligation and an opportunity to make a difference in Milo-Grogan, to reinvigorate a culture of neighborhood for working class families, to bring stability, to open the door to home ownership, to support long-term viability of area businesses, and usher in new ones, and to rehab older homes so they are more energy efficient and cheaper to live in. I'm happy to report that almost 33 homes, all the 33 homes Homeport is building in Milo-Grogan, including the lot that you're sitting on right now, are all in some stage of development. The ones that we are building, the 33 homes, will all be affordably leased, and at the end of 15 years, those same homes will be available for sale at an affordable price to the individuals who rent them. Homeport's role in all of this is to be a partner in the renovation of an important neighborhood. This housing reinvestment complements the vibrancy of Milo Arts, the Milo-Grogan Recreation Center, and the new Rogue headquarters. And it's our hope that these 33 new homes together with the renovation of existing homes and businesses are a catalyst in once again making Milo-Grogan a strong and vibrant working class neighborhood. We are so very proud to have the opportunity to be just a part of that effort. I would now like to invite an individual I've truly had the pleasure of getting to know and work with. Fifth Third Central Ohio President and CEO Jordan Miller to share his personal and his professional thoughts on Milo-Grogan. Jordan.
Thank you, Bruce. Thanks. I'm truly excited for this day, for this historic groundbreaking event. This neighborhood means a lot to me. As it's a place that I grew up in, it's a place that I come to know. I know every single street in Milo-Grogan, walked every single one of them, been up and down, probably been in your backyard if you live here. But first on a professional level, Fifth Third Bank has a long-standing relationship with Homeport. Stephanie Stewart-Young sits on their board. Many of you know Stephanie. She's all over this community and does a lot of wonderful things on behalf of Fifth Third in her capacity. Last year we made a $30 billion commitment and to support low and moderate income housing as well as to support small business development. This is just a part of what that $30 billion will help seed this program. One of our partners, Ohio Capital Corp for Housing, supports this project as well, and Hal and the folks, they do just a wonderful job, but we invested $25 million into their fund, and that fund is partially supporting this project. We also gave them $200,000 in a grant to create housing stability for owner-occupied repairs for those folks that live here. In 2018, we're going to work with Homeport to support their financial education and counseling plans for members of this community. Now on a personal level, I grew up just across the street. That recreation center you see there used to be a playground. It covered about half of the block. The other half of the block were homes. There was homes and there was church, I think about 5 homes. And when they tore down my father's home to extend the playground, I had 3 brothers and 4 sisters. The house next to us had about 10 kids. And so where were all the kids going to go that were going to go to the new playground because they were moving away all the children that lived in the community. But just some fond memories. On that playground that we called it before it was a recreation center, we played basketball, we played football, we played horseshoes, we played volleyball, bid whist, we had swings. We ran races in the alley behind 2nd Avenue, and that was where I learned all my great track skills. Running from the police, probably. Well, one of our favorite things to do, one of the most favorite things to do that I remember as a child growing up in this neighborhood was to raid the numerous apple trees, the peach trees, the grapevines, and we would just get bags, and me and my buddies would just run all over this neighborhood and tell that the owner of the house caught us. We'd just steal their fruit, and then we'd have fights. The Woodshop at the Boys and Girls Club, now Boys and Girls Club, when I grew up was a boys club, on Cleveland Avenue. That woodshop, my father, he personally built that woodshop and volunteered there as the leader of that woodshop when it's part-time. So in the evening, the young boys that I grew up with, we would go there and make lamps out of bowling pins. So I miss that man tremendously. I wish he knew. And my mom, that grew up they were right across the street, knew that we were here. I-71, when they were building I-71, I was just a little kid. We went to Milo-Grogan School, so we lived here, had to go get across that construction some kind of way. But when they finally were just about ready to open it, they had a soapbox derby. The soapbox derby started at the top of 2nd Avenue, went down towards 5th Avenue. And that was just little things, this thing that made me think about this. But the real important thing about this project, and the really reason that I want to support it and why Fifth Third is behind this, is because it will give every boy and every girl in this neighborhood the same chance that I had to succeed. Restoring home ownership, bringing back the pride of our neighborhood, stabilizing families, is so important to the future of any community, especially this one. This is not about building houses. This is about making homes. And for that, I am truly blessed to be here, and I'm honored to be part of this opening revitalization of this community. It's going to be great, and I'm going to hope to be able to stick around to see more of it through. Unfortunately, I've got to leave right now, and I'm going to turn it back over to Bruce. Thank you.
You know, it's very powerful when both a great business partner as well as a strong just person has that faith in what can be done here, and so we thank Jordan for that. I'd like now to introduce the city's Director of Development, Steve Shoney.
Good afternoon, Bruce. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming. I'm glad Stephanie's still here because given what Jordan just said, we're going to be coming to Fifth Third for donations to the community garden program to make up for all the fruit that Jordan had stolen in his youth. On behalf of Mayor Ginther and the entire Ginther administration, thank you all for coming out, and thank you to Homeport for spearheading this project. I also do want to recognize Councilmember Jiza Page, who's behind me and is the housing chair, and we couldn't do what we do without the support of Jiza and her colleagues on City Council, so let's give them a round of applause as well. When I talk about our neighborhoods, Milo-Grogan is the neighborhood that, honest to goodness, gets me the most excited, because this is the neighborhood where it's all coming together. When we talk about what makes a strong neighborhood, it's a neighborhood that has, first of all, an engaged community. It has an interesting sense of place, an interesting housing stock, an interesting set of businesses, and an interesting set of community organizations. And it's connected to jobs. And it's all happening in this neighborhood. Across the highway, we have Rogue Fitness. I like to say that I was introduced to this neighborhood by two things, really beer and Barksdale, and I'll talk about Barksdale in a minute. And they were not at the same time, although maybe they should have been. But I really discovered this when we were pursuing Stone Brewing for what is now Rogue Fitness, and really got to understand a little bit more about this neighborhood through conversations with Robert, and saw that this could be the place where it all comes together. So this is the place where we have economic development. We're standing in the midst of a series of land bank parcels that the city had helped assemble to put together, along with the Central Ohio Community Improvement Corporation and Homeport, to pull all that together. I got a bunch of folks from my housing team here today who worked with Homeport to put together the financing package and bring the city's dollars to bear. We've been working in the neighborhood with Rogue to make sure that we're not just putting jobs in the neighborhood, but that we're providing opportunities for the folks that are in the neighborhood to connect to those jobs and find the training and get into the business to be able to take those jobs. So that's why I get really excited about this. But when you do all these things in a neighborhood, you do have to be careful, because we've seen it in other places, both here in town and around the country, where when you get it all right, sometimes it's hard for the folks that have been there for years and decades, and the families that have been there for years and decades, to still feel like it's home. And building this kind of housing within Milo, within an area that I think has a fantastic future that only builds on its past, you have to do that kind of carefully. And having Homeport come in, build affordable housing that's here for working families, and will be available for working families to buy, is critical to getting the kind of mixed income neighborhoods, mixed income communities that we have to have in this city to be a great city. So I just want to, on behalf of the mayor, thank everybody who's been a part of this. I especially want to thank Bruce and Maud and the whole team at Homeport for being our great partners, not only here but on every project we do. So thank you. Now I get to introduce Robert Barksdale. Now I warned Robert that I was so excited when I saw the flow today that I got to introduce Robert, that I was going to really tease him about a lot of things. I will tell you that if you parked at the far end of 2nd, right before you come under the highway, be careful. There's a guy who owns property down there that's pretty tough about who parks in front of his house, and if your car's not there, go see Robert. But I did, as I was coming into this job 4+ years ago, my predecessor, Boy Safford, who's here in the crowd, told me, you need to go see Robert Barksdale, and you need to understand what Robert has to say, not only about his neighborhoods, but about neighborhoods. And that was, Boyce has given me a lot of great advice, but I think that was some of the best advice I've gotten. Robert and the entire area commission are our partners in looking at how we improve our communities and keep our communities great for our families. So without further ado, because I know I've gone like 5 minutes over my time, I want to bring up Robert Barksdale.
Thank you. Good afternoon, public officials, honored guests, and residents. First, I would like to thank God for this blessed and glorious day. This event marks a major milestone along our journey towards the revitalization of Milo-Grogan. Thank you all for coming, and a special thanks to my family and the love of my life, Rita Barksdale, who is in attendance today. Special thanks to the Area Commission, the Civic Association, our Housing Committee members, Winnie Jackson, Regina Ellaby, Brenda Johnson-Williams, Evan Primer, Carla Anderson, William Anderson. Special thanks to Director Shoney and John Turner, City staff and City Council. I want to talk briefly about the neighborhood stabilization and the role that housing plays towards our stabilization in the future. Approximately 17 years ago, the folks at Homeport built approximately 30 homes in Milo-Grogan. That effort produced a solid foundation for today's event. Very special thanks to Maud Hill and Miss Leah Evans and the entire Homeport management team. Growing up in Milo-Grogan, one of the things that we had developed a few years ago was a theme called Celebrate Youth, Celebrate Life, Celebrate Milo. My parents purchased our home in 1950. At that time, Milo was a wonderful and vibrant neighborhood. We had a number of small businesses, including 2 grocery stores right around the corner, Dick's Market and Reed's Variety Store. I know many of you probably remember those businesses on St. Clair Avenue. However, my favorite spot was the Boys Club. I don't mean to be redundant, but I am going to go through it because Jordan Miller, of course, mentioned some of these things. But that was definitely my favorite spot. The Boys Club allowed us an opportunity for young men to learn and develop strong character traits along with many other new skills. One of the most important activities at the Boys Club was the Woodshop. As Jordan mentioned, the instructor at the Woodshop was his dad, Mr. Miller Sr. Kids would be lined up to make these lamps out of these bowling pins, and I think Jordan mentioned that. Then we would turn those lamps into very nice furniture for our parents, and they were very proud of those. Those were definitely a true treasure. But the true treasure was the life lessons being taught by Mr. Miller. He took a room full of kids, taught them how not only to work with their hands, but he also taught us how to work with each other. And amazingly, with all those kids, no one ever got hurt in that wood shop. And I mean, there were a pack of kids in that wood shop. I don't know how he did it. The future of Milo-Grogan looks very, very bright because of so many people like many of you in attendance today. It also looks bright because of the people like Mr. Miller, Sr., of whom we stand firmly on his shoulders and continue to build on the family contributions and the legacy. Again, celebrate youth, celebrate life, celebrate Milo. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Joe Gilliam, Central Howard Regional Director representing the office of U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown.
Thank you, everyone. It's an honor to be here today on behalf of Senator Brown. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here because he's in Washington, D.C. for votes, but he did he did ask me to bring a letter to read on his behalf, so I'm going to do so. Dear friends, congratulations as you celebrate the groundbreaking of this new project in the Milo-Grogan neighborhood. For 3 decades now, Homeport has helped families achieve the dream of having a home of their own. A home is more than just a roof over one's head. Homes create memories and anchor communities. You understand that. I'm excited to see what a difference this latest project will make for its residents and for the entire Milo-Grogan community. Thank you to all the partners and our city officials for making this investment possible. I wish you all the best in the years to come. Sincerely, Sherrod Brown, United States Senator. Thank you very much.
So I would now like to introduce and welcome the Honorable Josiah Page, Columbus City Council member.
Thank you so much, Bruce, and good afternoon, everyone. It is certainly an honor and a pleasure to be here this afternoon. And I would just, before beginning, a few facts I want to share with you all. Ask all of the current or any past area commissioners from Milo to stand up. Please stand, please stand. And I just want to take this time to thank you for the work that you do. We have one back here as well. The area commissions are truly important and integral to the growth of their neighborhoods, to city planning, and I just appreciate the time and the sacrifices that you make every single day to serve your community, and I just wanted to do that. So thank you all so very much. Again, my name is Jiza Page, and I serve as the Housing Chair on Columbus City Council. As council member, one of my top priorities is to combat vacant and abandoned housing, as well as supporting initiatives which will create additional opportunities to reduce the increasing need of affordable housing units in our capital city. And I share this priority and this fight with our current Franklin County Treasurer, who is here with us also today, Treasurer Cheryl Brooks Sullivan. Last year, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated the population in Franklin County to be 1,264,518 people, making it the most populous county in Ohio and Columbus the most populous city in Ohio. However, there is still an estimated gap of 54,000 units of affordable housing for low-income residents in our county alone. We have approximately 495,250 households with an average of 2.5 people, we don't really have half people, but when we do numbers, per household, and their median household income is $53,882. It is imperative that we continue to reinvest and revitalize our neighborhoods to diminish the negative connotation on affordable housing and close the gap to help assist those in need. I would like to thank Homeport and the collaboration with the City of Columbus Land Bank for this exciting partnership. I'm certain the residents in Milo are anticipating a remarkable outcome. I now have the pleasure to introduce someone who has an A and a Z in their name, just like me, Sue Zazon, the president of Huntington National Bank Columbus.
Good afternoon, everybody. What a beautiful day. As I was sitting here listening, I wrote down, and I do this often, several words that really resonated. And the mayor's going to be proud of me, too, because I'm going to get neighborhood in here 3 times. The first word I heard several times was celebrate. I heard neighborhood, vibrant, pride, neighborhood, stabilizing, blessed, faith, partners. A new one on my list is stolen fruit. I have never had that on my list before. And lastly, again, neighborhood. So 3 neighborhoods. I'm so proud to represent Huntington today. We're the investor and the construction lender on this project. It takes all of us coming together as partners to ensure quality, affordable housing for all. And notice the word all. Bruce, thank you. To Homeport for giving greater security, opportunity, and dignity to thousands of people since 1987. I'm very proud of our many colleagues who have given their time and expertise to Homeport over the years, including Tom O'Hara, who serves on his board currently. On behalf of everyone at Huntington, we're very proud to include Milo-Grogan among Columbus neighborhoods receiving $300 million in investment through 2021. Additionally, we're pleased to be working with our friends at Ohio Capital Corp for housing under a new $150 million commitment to affordable housing projects across the entire state. This benchmark, intended to set the tone and energize the markets for other lenders to join in, and the more than $500 million we've invested to date would not be possible without the leadership of all those here today. Plans to blend these homes with the historic context of the neighborhood and broader investment across the greater Milo-Grogan community will make Milo-Grogan a beautiful, wonderful place to call home. Thank you. I forgot to introduce the next person. And I would like to introduce Ohio Housing Finance Agency Director of Planning, Preservation, and Development, Kellen Craig.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to participate in the groundbreaking for Milo-Grogan Homes. As most of you know, the Ohio Housing Finance Agency is the state agency that administers the Federal Housing Tax Credit Program and several gap financing programs and several homeownership programs as well. Most importantly, we've helped finance over 140,000 affordable units in Ohio over the past 35 years through public-private partnerships like this one. In keeping with that tradition, we were pleased to be able to provide over $700,000 in federal housing tax credits, generating over $7 million in equity, and a $1.5 million housing development loan to this 33-unit development of single-family homes. This development embodies why these federal and state programs are critical to providing much-needed affordable housing for families across the state. So keep that in mind this week as tax reform is heading through the Senate, and make some phone calls. I want to congratulate Bruce, Maud, and the entire Homeport team and all of the other financing partners, including the Ohio Capital Corporation for Housing, Huntington Bank, Fifth Third, Steve Gladman and the Affordable Housing Trust, Mayor Ginther and Steve Shoney from the City of Columbus. It's no easy feat to be awarded tax credits in a very competitive environment where this federal program is oversubscribed nearly 3 to 1. Homeport has been one of our great partners with OFA on several successful developments, and this one will surely be no exception. Homeport is uniquely suited to provide the necessary services and supports to prepare the families that will live in these homes to achieve the ultimate American dream of home ownership. And what a great opportunity to provide high-quality, affordable housing in Milo-Grogan, which has already been stated as experiencing exciting new growth and opportunities for those that live here. And so I hope also, my Columbus Landmarks hat on, hopefully the Columbus Railway Power and Light Building will be restored as part of the exciting activity happening here. On behalf of the OFA board and staff and our executive director, Sean Thomas, congratulations again. I look forward to celebrating with you next year when the construction is finished. I'll introduce Hal Keller, President and CEO of the Ohio Capital Corporation for Housing, one of our major partners. And for those of you who don't know, OFA and Ohio Capital just hosted the largest affordable housing conference in the United States. Every year we have it, and that's in part thanks to Hal's leadership at Ohio Capital.
Well, thanks, and this is indeed a celebration. It's amazing. So much work has gone into this, and we're only breaking ground today. But I do want to give just a congratulations to the wonderful team. Homeport, what Homeport means to the city of Columbus cannot be overstated. They're a true leader and affected so many important neighborhoods, including Milo-Grogan. We were the investor, partner with Homeport 13 years ago when the first project was done, and also Rockford Homes, Variety Architects, and we're also thrilled that the property manager will be an affiliate of Ohio Capital Corporation, CPO, Community Properties of Ohio. CPO folks, if you could raise your hand. We got some folks here. Great, great. Well, to pick up on what Kellen was talking about, we are the private part of the public-private partnership you hear a lot about, and Homeport was successful in competing in this very competitive program. And our real job here is to bring capital to the table. And of course, it's not our money, it's our investors' money. So let me talk about who our investors are who are investing in Milo-Grogan. Huntington, you heard from Suzanne, a good friend. Huntington is a 50% investor and also a construction lender. Fifth Third Bank is an investor as well. And Jordan did mention that the Fifth Third Community Development Corporation just committed over $200,000 in Milo-Grogan to support a lot of these activities, and we're thrilled about that as well. J.P. Morgan Capital Corporation, also known as Chase Bank, Key Bank, U.S. Bank, Park National Bank, First Financial, and many other community banks are partners with Homeport in Milo-Grogan. Of course, you're hearing all about these partnerships, but it's amazing how many partners it takes to make something as important as this take place. I like to slow up and just pick up on what Kellen was talking about. You hear a lot about tax reform. This is very, very scary stuff for affordable housing. The House version, our friends at CUD can't see this, they're public employees, but I can. The House version of tax reform would cut production by 40% nationwide. The Senate version cut funding by 15%. In a program that everybody agrees is important, the low-income housing tax credit program. So keep your thoughts, and I know that Homeport and others have been advocating along with us. We are very fortunate in Ohio to have a great housing finance agency that runs a very clean program, and a lot of what we do at Ohio Capital Corporation, Homeport does, could not be done without the great leadership at the Housing Finance Agency. I'd like to pick up on something the Director Shoney mentioned, is that we always talk about affordable housing development as economic development. The people are going to be working for not only CPO, but Rockford Homes are going to be paying a livable wage, and hopefully they're going to go out and spend that money and keep it here in Milo-Grogan, but certainly in the city of Columbus. Last but certainly not least, we are a long-term partner. I'd like to introduce the people at Ohio Capital Corporation that worked hard on this particular project. John Kircher, Beth Long, and Tom Kindren, if you could raise your hand. And where is John? John, if you could stand up. I think this might be your last official groundbreaking. John is retiring after more than 25 years of service at Ohio Capital Corporation. We'll miss John, but I know with Beth Long, you're in very good hands at Homeport working with us. But it is now my pleasure to introduce a good friend of ours collectively, which is Tom Leach, Field Office Director of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Tom?
What a great day to celebrate. That's it. It is. It's a great day. You know, Homeport and the partners here are making a huge investment, not only the community, but really it's about the people. And we've heard that before. It's about the people. And you know, Homeport has been a really long-term partner with HUD for decades? Decades. And I have to tell you that, you know, they've been very successful in using our HUD programs. You know, about 1 in 5 families in Ohio has a place to call home because of a HUD program. There's about $2.1 billion a year that comes in from the federal government through HUD to local programs and communities that fund programs like this through the city of Columbus and Mayor Ginther's efforts and the council members, and also through other organizations that really support what we do. But I wanted to go on a script here. If you take a look at the program, you'll see there's a whole lot of people on that program talking about how great a job Homeport does. Well, there's a reason for that. And the reason is if anybody says, hey, Homeport's going to be doing a project, we all line up and say, how can we help? Because we know Homeport's going to be very successful, not only in building homes and communities, but it's about the people. And I just wanted to mention that, you know, that Homeport does a lot besides just home ownership. They do rental assistance programs for seniors and families, and also housing counseling to keep people in their homes, foreclosure assistance. They do a great job. But I just want to say congratulations to Homeport and to all the partners here for their investment and that significant investment in the community. Another person who's been here for a long time, been an important investor in the community, is Steve Gladman from the Affordable Housing Trust.
I work for the Affordable Housing Trust. We're funded by the city and county to provide specialized financing to affordable housing projects here in Franklin County. So congratulations to the residents of Milo-Grogan and to Homeport for this project, and we're very pleased to be a participant in the project. And if it's like other Homeport projects, it will add great value to the community and provide quality housing for your residents. It's my pleasure to get to introduce Jim Clemens. And Jim doesn't know this, but we graduated the same year. And I watched Jim play and win the high school championship. I also played basketball, but didn't quite get as far as Mr. Clemens did. Then I went to Ohio State, as did Mr. Clemens, and watched him play there. So it is my pleasure to introduce James Clemens, 10-time NBA champion as a player and coach, former resident of Milo-Grogan, and a star basketball player here at Lynn McKinley and Ohio State.
All right.
Mr. Clemens.
Well, good afternoon. And I have down here, I'm not as smooth as Mr. Barksdale in my welcoming of everyone. I tell you, you've come a long way, baby. And I was also looking for Herschel. You taking your hat off. I catch cold in my head, so excuse me. I'm not being offensive, but I'm right now residing in Los Angeles, Manhattan Beach, California, and the weather difference, I know I'm going to have the sniffles tomorrow. I've been taking notes as well, and I write down. I'm a note taker. I'm old-fashioned. I don't want to apologize for it, but that's just the way it is. I'm getting older and more mature. And I'm Titanic. I take notes in college. That's what we had to do. Get the information, take notes. Nowadays, our kids are on pads and iPhones and smartphones and all that other new technology. But the words that we use, I think, gives us an indication of where our hearts are. And I continually wrote down several words myself, you know. So, and I'll write down not all the same, but once again, I think the tenor of the day is partnership, homes, affordable housing, ownership. Stolen fruit's not on there yet. And I'm gonna take a few minutes, and as the speakers before me, I'm going to reflect about my memories in growing up in this community. And oftentimes, when I have a moment or two, I still drive through. We moved to 857 East 4th Avenue. And I was an alley kid. I wasn't, my mom and my aunt and uncle, we didn't have enough money to afford the 50-cent quarterly fee to join the boys club. And we had to make beelines home because my mother worked the day shift and my auntie worked the nights from 11 to 7. So there's always an adult at home. Me and I'm the middle child between two sisters. And the first summer when we moved over here to 857, we didn't know anyone in the neighborhood, so the three of us played on a little slab in the backyard, and there was a grapevine there that hovered over, and there was a peach tree and the apple trees and cherry trees. That's where the youngsters, being an alley kid, you knew who had the fruit. And we played, later on, I developed some friendships, and we played baseball as a major sport. And the ball went in somebody's yard, you either quietly tiptoed in and retrieved your ball and made a beeline out, or occasionally there was a broken window and the ball went astray, and you go and admit the fact that you've been playing and this is the cause of it. And if you were lucky, the owner gave you your ball back. If not, he took it, and you didn't see that ball again. So your rule was don't hit the ball in somebody else's yard. And if you did, you went to get it. And it's kind of a code. There were still victory gardens. Almost every home had tomatoes, greens, onions. They had something that made it their own. And you appreciated that. Talking about affordable housing, I think that's why we moved. We moved to Columbus, Ohio, September the 6th, 1957, from Lincoln, North Carolina. Because our parents, my auntie and my uncle, wanted my mother, who was working in Detroit, Michigan, to come down and we could be a family of whole. And it was our opportunity for them to make a better life for us. And my older sister, Geneva, is an attorney here in town, and my baby sister, Sharon, is a PhD, retired from Wittenberg University, and she speaks Spanish better than I speak English. So indeed, their vision of making life better for us in Columbus, Ohio, certainly worked out. Growing up in the Milo-Grogan area provided us a stable home. And that was what my parents were accustomed to. And thank God we had an auntie whose home at 740 Miller, I drive by, has been rebuilt. And when we moved from North Carolina, it was my aunt Lillian and her husband and the 5 and 6 of us all living in a 3-bedroom home. And after that year over on Miller, we moved to 857. So we had our own. And not knowing the history, the past of Milo-Grogan, it certainly gave us a history now to look forward to. And these memories are not difficult, they're warm. Maybe that's why when I have a moment or two, I do drive back through the community and remember. I drive up and down the alleys and remember one telephone pole was touched down and another one there. Because if you go back through the alleys, you see they're probably reasonably spaced and you had to go past the telephone pole. And in baseball, first base, second base was right in the middle of the alley and third base was over there and you played within there. And we played up and down Lexington Avenue when any cars weren't there. We played a real street game over there when you had like more than 6 or 7 people. You could spread them out. Now you had a real aerial show with the football. And watch out for the cars. And we were really street kids because we didn't want to walk back up here to 2nd Avenue and it was the closest outside facility. So I was an alley brat and proud of it, to be honest with you. I keep hearing the word partnership. I'm a team player. Team sports were my thing. And I understand the commitment that has to be made individually and collectively for success. And yes, once again, as I look at this program and I see the people who are involved, you've assembled a wonderful team. But teams without faith and without trust are just people, institutions. So as you build these homes and later on people have the opportunity to own these homes, remember, they're families of people, not just homes. So hopefully we'll be blessed with homes of families and memories that are affordable, that have regenerated themselves, and they will have memories of growing up in the Milo-Grogan community that will be fond and heartfelt and warm in their history. I keep hearing commitment, cause, concern, community. Once again, these are words that need to be put into action. The actions will be able to be viewed by the successes that you have. Put warm, heartfelt energy into any and everything that we do, and the fruit that we will be born will certainly be ripe for the taking. Let's celebrate in the time, and the talent, and the effort, and the trust that these memories that we're celebrating today do in fact come true years from now. And we look upon this glorious day and realize this was the beginning of something new and we all can be proud of. Thank you.
Well, that ends the official part of the program. There are a couple things I want to mention before I close it down. So first of all, thank you to everyone who has touched this or been a part of this. And, and it's so wonderful to hear just the personal stories. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mr. Barksdale. And also to Jordan. I know how much, I know from working with Jordan how much this means to him, and I know the same here. So that makes it even more special for us. But I would like to, again, thank the City of Columbus, Huntington Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Ohio Capital Corp for housing, Ohio Housing Finance Agency, the Affordable Housing Trust, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Berardi Architects. I don't know if George or any of his team are here, but they have been partners for quite a long time with us in helping us make these things come alive. Don Wick and Bob Yoakum, I know, I saw them out there with Rockford Homes. Rockford builds these homes, and they're a good time, long partner of ours, and we really cherish the work that they do for us. CPO Management, the Community Properties of Ohio, the Milo-Grogan Area Commission, City of Columbus, the Recreation and Parks Department, CODA. So thank you all, and most importantly, thank the residents who have come and who are a part of this. You make this all happen. Thank you for putting up with construction that's happening during this time to your neighborhood. We're here to visit and to leave it hopefully better than when we first started. But thank you all to the residents. To close this, I'd like to have Reverend Dale Tucker, who's the pastor at Tridestone Baptist Church, come up for the benediction.
First, let me say congratulations to all those that are involved, and most importantly, we thank God for this wonderful opportunity to be a blessing to a family, to a child, and to the Milo-Grogan Commission and to the area. If you will, let's bow our heads. God, we say thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity and the celebration that we come on today to be a blessing not only to those in this community, but also to those in the city of Columbus. We pray that vision and provision will be available for the lives to be changed and families to be blessed. Bless the hands and the work that has begun, not just for today, but for tomorrow. You said in your word that we should acknowledge you, and you would direct our paths. So at this moment we say, God, that we lean not to our own understanding, but we seek your wisdom and your direction. None of this will be possible without your finger of love. Bless your people, and we will be blessed. And we'll be careful to give your name praise, glory, and honor, for it's all due unto you. And we all say amen. Amen.
Well, with that, one last thing. I'd like to absolutely thank our team at Homeport and our board. So any of there, raise your hand. These are the people that make it happen every day. And it's an honor for me to be able to just be a part of that team. So thank you all for being here. Let's all go across the street, celebrate. Thank you all.
Give us a count. 1, 2, 3. Go!
All right.